very much for joining us today. We have with us Dr. Mohammad Chaudry at Kuch Khaas, and he's going to speak to us about higher educational opportunities in the United States and the current situation.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to come to Kuch Khaas. I'm very impressed, I must say, for the initiative that you have taken. And especially, I would like to comment on the importance of art in education. I think frequently we forget that education is more than just learning what's in the books on science and engineering and technical subjects like economics, which is my field. But ignoring the art side of life and culture can be a big deficit. So I'm very happy to see that it is a serious effort to introduce that. And hopefully that this will grow even further. Well, when it comes to educational opportunities in the United States, we have, of course, the vast array of universities, both public and private, that are available to students from Pakistan or any other place that wish to pursue higher education. And the opportunities are really for you to take. The United States welcomes students in spite of the post-9/11 environment, which we have to recognize because it is reality. Certainly, there was an attempt by the universities to attract more students, and yet they're facing these constraints because students can't always get the visas. And I remember the president of Yale University writing to the New York Times, the editor, saying that the policies to restrict admissions to universities from different countries, including Muslim countries, they were short-sighted. Because in the end, we have to recognize that the United States became successful, became the superpower of the world, and now it's the only superpower, really with the talent that it attracted from all over. It did attract the best of the best. And therefore, it benefited from their ingenuity, their innovation, and contribution that they have made to every aspect of society. So, the U.S. would be at a deficit in a few years if we do not bring in the best, and we do not continue to bring in the best. So that's very, very important. And the United States educational institutions clearly recognize that. Now, among the universities, of course, we know that there are few names that are private universities that everybody knows about, but perhaps many students don't realize. Students in Pakistan may not realize. They've heard of Harvard, they've heard of MIT, and they've heard of the Seven Sisters and various schools. But they may not know that there are state universities that offer excellent education in all fields. In fact, they are in their own right recognized as very highly prized research institutions where they offer education at a much lower cost. So, for example, a private university may be anywhere from $35,000 to $50,000 a year in expenses, whereas a state university, such as Rutgers University, which is the State University of New Jersey, the cost would be more like $14,000 to $15,000. Some is as low as $9,000, but around $14,000 to $15,000. Another layer that many people forget, that I would like to just mention, is the community colleges. Now, those students who really wish to go on a budget, you have an opportunity to do the first 2 years of a degree at a community college. And I know of community colleges in the state of New Jersey, and every state has them, where they provide excellent 2 years of education, and then you can transfer to a 4-year school. As a matter of fact, I teach in a program at Rutgers, which is known as the Degree Completion Program, in which we now have an agreement with 4 community colleges in the state of New Jersey, where if the students meet a certain criteria, if you have a minimum of 3.0 average, you can apply to this program. Ordinarily, if you want to enter one of the College of Arts and Sciences at Brunswick, for example, you would be required to have 3.5. But in this program, we will let you in with a 3.0. And then you have to work hard, of course, to make it, to get a full degree for the 4 years. But you have a way to get in. And so I want to make sure that people are aware that those opportunities exist, and then they should try to take advantage of that. Now, let me end that part of it by saying that the best students in our universities are the ones that are going to be team players, they're going to become a part of the community, and they are willing to contribute. And that is what you need to show in your application. Not only your accomplishments, but also that in your activities outside the school. Because it is not just academics. We're looking for personality, we're looking for a person's interest in the community, and to make a difference. Someone who's really interested in making a difference. So let me stop there and take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Dr. Chaudry. That was very detailed information about applying to the US for higher education. You've covered most of the questions that I was going to ask, but I would like you to tell us a little bit about your academic and professional background and your current involvement.
Sure. Well, I've been very lucky in many ways. I of course started out in Lahore. I left Pakistan in 1963. I went to the London School of Economics for 4 years. I got my honors in Economics and Econometrics. And then I went to the United States for a short assignment for 3 months, but it turned out to be 43 years. And so I did my PhD in Economics and Econometrics at Tufts University. And I was very lucky to have the opportunity to work with a company at that time that was interested in the subject that I was actually pursuing. Econometrics, which is a quantitative analysis of economic issues and economic life, was very new. And I was able to apply that to some of the problems that the company was facing. And as a result, I was able to actually have a position that I then kept for 30 years. And during that time, I worked on management of science issues, strategic planning, corporate planning, business planning. I wrote business plans. Part of my responsibility was to evaluate business plans. The company that I worked for was at that time AT&T, known as the Bell System. And it was in fact a monopoly at that time. And it basically covered everything. And they had 23 operating companies. Every company had to submit a business plan for headquarters. And I worked for the headquarters. So we had to evaluate the business plans of it. So I learned that skill as to how to evaluate whether some proposal that's coming to the company for funding, hundreds of millions of dollars, is worth supporting. So you learn that skill, and I used my economics background, how to analyze, how to frame questions, because sometimes issues are very complex. And one of the beauties of the discipline is that you figure out how to put a very complex, undefined, unstructured problem into a framework. Because economics gives you a framework. It gives you a theoretical framework in which things can fit. And even though you think the problems are all too unique, it's very difficult. You can't fit this into any kind of an economic framework. Well, I can show you that in 1972, 2 colleagues of mine and myself wrote a paper that got published on AT&T. And we took the simplest economic models to actually create a planning model for AT&T. That we were able to forecast earnings of AT&T based on certain assumptions. Whether, for example, Nixon was going to win the 72 election or McGovern. And we made assumptions as to what their policies would do to the United States economy and how that would impact AT&T. All right? So we built a model that allowed us to actually make those estimates. Now, they were estimates. They were not exact numbers. But the idea was in planning, we want to look at alternatives. And we provided alternatives to the AT&T company and management to see what the implications of it to presidential candidates might be, and so forth.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chaudry. That was all very great information. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.